All right, welcome to another retouch, and this time we're going to finish off an image of our pear. Let me show you what that is. Let me tap this here. This is the image, the pear on a little spoon, this little wooden spoon. Before I get to one of the retouches with the sort of like a textured, the grungy background that I shot in England, let's do this. It's really simple. I want to go through that, and then we'll build on the next retouch. So, I actually love this picture. I would hang this on my wall, and I think it's very delicate, very simple. I like that. Again, simplicity often is the key to good composition and drawing your subject or your viewer into this whatever subject you have here. So, I did this retouch a ways back, so I'm gonna have to refresh myself on. I say a couple weeks ago. So let's hit tab. That brings up my layers here, and I want to show you what layers I have. And then we're going to go build it from scratch. So we have finished off the layers here. I think I was just checking because I made a print. So often what I do is I do just a slight adjustment. Tested it on my printer. A black and white, which, let's see what this one was, just a slight desaturation. Another levels, it was kind of flat. I punched the contrast a little bit. Then I have another black and white, which this time I set to luminosity as my blending mode, which allows me to manipulate the colors using a black and white filter pack. Pretty amazing. I think I've already showed you that already. We'll do it again. There's my vignette. Let's get this out of the way here just for a second. And then I've got my one texture on top, a gradient on the bottom. I did two of them. Okay, we'll work on that. My first texture here, and then this was the one that I retouched to because it came over my nodal point. I don't know if I did this on tilt shift. Something happened and it's not, it was a little bit off on my stitching together, but I think we're going to fix that. So there is the image that came over from raw. So let's go over here and we're going to go to still life. We're going to go to raw, and then we're going to hit my 3 images. So here is the stitched image. As I've said before, you don't have to go and stitch your images like I've done, but there's the middle, the left, and the right. So we're going to put that together. So I'm going to hold the shift key down, or I just do Command A. We'll select all. We're going to go to raw, so Command R takes me over to bridge, the raw converter, and I just updated it. We just want to get started. This is the fun part about teaching is every time I sit down and do a video, there's something that's not updated. I update it, I start teaching, then I realize there's some things that have changed. Oh, it's crazy. When you're in by yourself, it's not a big deal, but when you're recording yourself, I always hate that. Sorry, Command A is going to select all, so hopefully we won't have any glitches here. And then I'm going to right click, Control, hold the Control down, and then just click the image, and it gives me my options here. And I say, I want to go and we're going to stitch it. So panorama, merge to panorama. And it says, hey, we don't have that lens in there. Okay, no worries. So it's going to go out here. Let's see what it's defaulted to on terms of my perspective. That did a pretty good job. Better than I did on the other one. I think the other one I had set it for perspective. Let's see what happens when I do perspective. Oh yeah, see it's missing the, oh, I know what it was. It's got auto. We want auto crop off, auto settings off. So let's go back to spherical. And then cylindrical. Let's see what that does. I think spherical works, well, let me see. Now that stretches the pear. We don't want that. So let's say merge. We're going to fix this. So when you stitch, it's just the way it has to do. It's got, you know, just got to warp it to fix it. So that's why it's not perfect. So let's just go and we're going to name this test and drop it into our still life and say OK. All right, we're set. Let's do some basic cleanup. Ignore heavy use of RAM. Well, that's because it's a big honking file. All right, so let's take the exposure up a little bit. We're going to take the highlights to the left just a tad. Shadows, open it up. Let's hold the I think it's control. No, it's the option. Option, and I can see where my white clips. So we're well, that's interesting. Huh. Usually it'll clip. Well, let's just visually watch it. I want to get a little punch there. Take the blacks just a little bit. Texture up just a tad. We're going to build some detail in this pear in a minute. Let's go dehaze just a tad. Okay, so let's go down here to our color mixer. We're going to set it to luminance. And this is similar to a black and white layer set to luminosity, but we're just going to adjust it just a little bit. So we're going to take the orange down, yellow up. We'll do it one more time later. See, green doesn't do much. I think we're good. So I'm going to hit OK. Don't have to do a smart object on this one. I think we're locked in here. So it's going to come over to Photoshop, big old honking file, and I've already got one image open, so my RAM is maxing out here. Okay, so the first thing I do is I got to crop it and fix the crop on it. I want to keep this handle in here. So let's do this. Let's go over to my crop, and we're going to go to just the W times H. That's just the regular setting for I'm going to just randomly set this up. Let's come down a little bit. And before I had this little line in here, I'm going to just go to the very tip there. Okay, so we're going to fix some areas here. Let's come in a little bit more. Now, if you wanted to keep an aspect ratio, well, we don't have, probably 16:9 would be the closest. That's maybe a little narrower than a 35mm crop, but that's pretty close. Let's go back to. I don't have a specific aspect ratio that I want to get to, but I do want the pear centered, and I would think that's pretty good. So we're going to hit return, and let's fix some areas over here. So first thing I'm going to do is hit my stamp, make the bracket keys a little bigger. We're going to go to 100%. We're going to hold down the option, and we're going to click and just clone in there. Okay, it's doing pretty good. Now I'm going to clone right there and bring it over. Let's go a little bigger for you guys. Let's hit the F key so I can move this around. So we're going to clone here and now match it. It's a little crooked, but that's okay because the whole thing's a little bit, we're going to straighten it out in a minute. So what can we do here? We've got a line here I got to preserve, this line on the table. So let's click, and we're going to just, this is not doing the best of jobs. Let's make it bigger. So we're going to clone and hold the option and click, so that copies it. That's one. Let's do it over here again because it's following my line. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Joel, that looks terrible. We're gonna fix it, don't worry. So we're gonna come along here. Actually, let's go do our spot healing brush, and we're gonna fix this right along here. Actually, I've got my Wacom pen here. Or tablet. Let's just do this. Let's fix this line. I took and distressed this table, and then I think I went a little too far. And so now I'm cleaning it up. I've used this table with lots of portraits, and right now it's kind of because it's out of focus and everything like that. It's a little bit harder to work with. So let's take this down here. Go back to my stamp. All right. So I do a lot of cleaning up of my images. They're not perfect. Oh, that's not. We got to make sure this is a soft brush. That's my problem is I'm always. Okay, so see how it's really soft here and it's sharp here. So we've got to grab where it's sharp, go across here. Where it's soft, we go across. So we match it. And we're going to darken this, really darken it. So we're going to hide some of this stuff. Okay, so let's go back over here and grab my spot healing brush and fix a couple of those little goobers. Okay. I know because I'm going to darken it, it's not that critical. Fix all that. The minute you start stitching, and this is going to really harsh, you don't want that either. I don't know why that got over there. I think it's because it's brand new. I reloaded Photoshop and everything has been reset. Okay, clone, stamp, okay, clone. Oops, I get a little shaky. Probably the mouse would be better to do it. So I'm going to have to clone dead center. Clone it again. Crooked. Probably wouldn't hurt if I blew this up a little bit bigger for you guys. All right. We're going to fix, since I've got my setup here, let's just take out this little goober here. When I transported it from the store, I think I bounced it around a little bit, or it was like that when I got it. Let's just grab it here. I'm going to grab a little bit of that. Command C, Command V, Command T. I went way too fast. Now Command T. Flip horizontal. We're just going to take over here and just feather in. We're going to darken it. So Command L just gives me a quick levels. We're going to darken it just a little bit. I want to darken it right to where the seam is right about there. That's probably good enough. So I'll lighten that up just a little bit. We're going to make a mask. And we'll take our brush, put it on black, super soft here. Make sure, just double check. It is soft. Bracket keys, we'll get it smaller. And we're just going to feather back. Whoops, I'm at 33%. Okay, I know what you're saying. Joel, it doesn't match. We're not done yet. So I'm going to go to the image, go to burn. No, we're going to go to dodge. Let's go about 13%. And we're going, oh, gotta be careful. Let's go back down to about 9. Let's see what that does. Again, I'm going to put a background, texture to background, so I'm not as critical, but I want to feather that in a little bit. And then we're going to go back to my brush and I'm going to fix this here. That looks better. Still not 100% perfect, but now what I can do is Command, and let me burn this down here just a little bit. that. Oh, on the wrong layer. To match that. Burn in here just a little bit. Okay. Command E will merge that down. And then I can always, let's say I really want, I'm going to keep this on gray. I would go to my stamp tool, go to about 30%, 25, 30, some 25%. And then I would go here and Option, click, and then just smooth this out a little bit here. Good enough. All right. So let's go out and get our texture. So I'm going to hit the F key to get out of here. Go over here to Joel's textures. And we had 3 that I picked, but I'm just going to use 2 of them. So let's just go. That's my first one. And here's my second one. I love these 2 textures. They work perfect for this scenario. All right. So let's take the first texture. We're going to hit the V key so I can grab it. Well, let's do this one first. This is my first one. There's my test. Drop it on there. We're going to Command T. We're going to rotate. So rotate, I think counterclockwise. No, let's go the other way. Let's go 180. And we're going to now drag it by holding the Shift key down. And we're going to go just below our horizon line. Just below, just a little bit below it. And actually I'm going to come out just a little bit on the edges here, because I think I've said that before. This background has a little bit of a line on it that I'm always having to work out. Oops, see it right there? That line, I didn't go far enough. Command T. It popped back in position. I always hate that because then I have to go and retouch it out. Okay, so what blending mode do you think we're going to use? Well, it's a gray on gray, which is going to be overlay or soft light. So let's start with overlay. Let's take that off for a second. Click on the background. Go over here to my quick select tool. We're going to hit select subject and Photoshop like magic. We're going to actually say enhance the edge too. Like magic, it just picked out my spoon and my pear perfectly. So we go down here and just hit the mask. There it is. Well, we're going to drag it up to the layer above and then invert it. So Command I will invert it. We now turn it on and we can see that that texture has it's adhered itself to it, but we have, because my mask only covered the pear and the wooden spoon, I'm going to click on the mask, go over to my brush, and we'll keep it 100%, make sure it's soft. Yep, soft. And now I'm going to start here and then hold the Shift key down and go like that. Let's fix that. And right along here, actually just right along my horizon there. So now that texture is just on the background, not on the table. Okay, that's the first mask, or the first texture. So let's go to our second texture. Hit the V, which is my grab. Go over here to my test. Let go. And once again, we're going to Command T, hold the Shift key down, and stretch it over. Yes, I'm stretching pixels. But it's a background, and I'm mixing backgrounds, so it doesn't really, it's not as critical as you think. Okay, so now we go to overlay again. We take this mask that's below, hold the Option and the Command, which copies and drags it, and drag it up to the top. Now I have both these layers connected to the background. We're going to add a vignette to just the background. So let's go to Levels. We're going to go over here to my Gradient tool. If I let go, it'll pop up, I think, and you guys can see. Gradient tool. We go up here to the circular, which I think I call it circular. It's radial. We're going to pull right about center here down. It's going to make a mask, a gradient mask, that I can now, let's hit the properties, and I'm going to pull, I want to make sure I clip it. So let's clip it to this background. So I'm going to hold down the Option and put my little hand between the two and click. Now that mask, gradient circular mask, is connected only to this one background. So now when we pull it, we get a little bit of a vignette there. Okay, we're not done. We're going to go, and now we're going to take levels. We're going to go all the way over here to my gradient again, but now we're going to go to, I think it's called the linear. No, what did I say before? Yeah, linear. That's the straight line, horizontal one. So I hold the shift key down, I pull up. We're going to go past into my background to about there. That mask needs to be inverted, so Command I. And then I have to click here again to get my properties up, and we're going to pull it down. So I'm going to watch the background too. I have to paint this out of the pear here for a second. And so that looks pretty good. We're going to do it one more time. So levels, get it all set. Now we're going to just at the base, just pull up a little bit there to the spoon. Invert that, Command I. And then we're going to pull that so it's a little bit, your eye goes to it. And that might have been a little too short. So Command T. I can always pull this up just a little bit. Feather that. Let's go back to the one below. We're going to get our brush. We'll put it on black at about 50, 40, 45%. And now we're going to paint back because this gradient went into the spoon and everything here. I like the shadows under there, but I don't want to get it too dark. So let's just pull that back just a little bit. So what happens if you say, I don't know where I painted? Well, right below the delete button is the backslash. You hit the backslash, and now you know what part of the mask is active. So hit again. So that's looking pretty good. So here we are. We've got the gradient on the bottom, and let's do a gradient on top too. So we're going to go levels again. We're going to go over here to my gradient tool, the linear, hold the shift key down. We're going to come down here just a little bit, invert it. That will draw my eye just a little more into that pear. Okay, that should have been on top there. All right, so we got those three gradients. Now we're going to go at the very top, and we're going to go adjustment layer to black and white. We're going to set the luminance to, or the blending mode to luminosity. And this is where I'm going to blow this up so you guys can really see. Watch this pear literally start to pop. Okay, so we're going to go, let's see, we're going to go yellow to the right, red to the left. Look at the texture in that pear all of a sudden there. That looks incredible. And that's all because I'm playing with black and white filter pack through luminosity on a color image. I just love it. Okay, so we might be a little dark overall, which before I know I had a level. So we're going to do a levels here and take a look at, and we may have to readjust that pear, but let's just pull up my contrast a little bit, probably right about there. And then we go back to my filter pack here. Let's pull that yellow down a little bit. Okay, I like that. I want it to pop, but and then we can also, I'm going to hit tab here for a second. Take a look here. It looks pretty good. We can readjust our backgrounds a little bit because they're on, separate layers. So let's go, that's that. So let's take the 1B low and pull it back just a little bit. Right about there. Let's get this out of the way. And then let's take a look at my gradient here. What I might do is increase the contrast just a little bit on that layer, just a tad. Make it glow. Okay. Now, overall, I'm way too saturated for me, so I always desaturate, either hue saturation, which we can pull it over here a little bit. Let's just take the reds down just a tad, and the yellows. I do this all the time. And we went back to the whoops, not default. We want custom. No. Master. Yeah, about 10-ish, somewhere around there. I'm going to do a dodge and burn, so Shift, Command N. We're going to set the blending mode to overlay and click on fill with 50% gray. We're going to go to my burn. Let's pull it down a little bit here, about 4%. And I'm going to fix these little areas right here. And you probably were saying, Joel, are you going to fix that little area? There's a little highlight right there I don't like. So because everything's on layers, I can go back to, let's see, this is the main one here. We can feather that a little bit. Let's see what that does. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. And then let's go to that little teeny one, this one right here, and let's pull that back just a little bit. So it feels like it's a little more smoothed out. And I'm going to try one more thing. We're going to make a vignette overall, so go to levels. We're going to go to gradient, the circular, pull down from the center. And this is going to be slight. Just pulling my corners a little bit. Now what I do is hit my tab, hit my F, so it's on black. I didn't do it. There it goes. Blow it up. Take a look at anything. We might go in here and fix, there's a little chunk of the wood missing there. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Let's go to the bottom. Yeah, any little cleanup that if I blow it up really, really big here, I might see a little bit of a rough spot there, but I'm not going to worry about that. Overall, I think that looks pretty amazing. So, very simple retouch, just using two textures, the gray background, and again, something I can do right in my home and build a piece of artwork that I can hang on my wall. Let's go back to gray. And what I do is, as I said before, when I go to print it, I've calibrated my monitor, but when I go to print it, let's see, we are on levels there. What did I do here? No, a little bit. I'm going to look at this. This is my highlights right here, right? So it's falling, obviously lots of darks over here. So I'm going to probably bring this little line right here is telling me it's probably this side right here of the pear, right? So let's say I want a little more contrast all the way around. So what I would do is I'd pull it up, maybe past it just slightly. I've already got a mask sitting there for me. I go over to my brush, and yeah, 45% opacity is good. And then I'll just paint back that one little section so that this is just giving me a little more contrast all the way around. I do this all day long with these. This is just a great way to sort of fine tune. And then if you want, go to black and white just to look at it in black and white. And that helps tell me if my values are all there. I don't keep it that way, but let's get rid of that. There you go. I'm going to tap. There we go. So simple. I fumbled a little bit here. Sorry about all the cameras and turning on and off. I hope this will encourage you to go out and obviously create a still life. You don't have to use pears. They're beautiful though. What else could you use? I did the flowers and all that stuff. You could take, well, an apple would be kind of cool. We did some grapes. Grapes would be kind of nice too. Things that if you want to do on the fruit side, I'm thinking of the fruit side. But a single pear looks pretty amazing. And again, I found that spoon at that antique store. Just when I saw it, I thought, that might work perfectly. So we are now going to go on to another retouch with that an actual background, a scenic background that I've distressed, and put that all together, show you how I do that. So obviously I'm not going to do every one of the images that I did. That would take forever. So long as you can get an idea of how I'm retouching these so you can do it yourself.